Hey, it's happy hour. Don't you love Fridays? Welcome, everybody. Going with my Venice Whalers shirt today because my brother's on the show from Venice. That's right. It's where we grew up. We do what we do. Hey, yeah, I'm going without a hat today. Kind of looking for this, the Dr. Richard Kimball look. What easy, everybody. I did not kill my wife. Okay, Marley, that's not funny. So going with the Dr. Kimball look. And I know, well, Marley's the one who's playing the things, but I will tell you this, I'm moving towards a Barnaby Jones look, staying within the Quinn Martin family. See Lex Ray Castro hanging out with me, the box cobbler, Jedediah Jones, if you're a Barnaby fan. Anyways, hey, we can call into the show. It's all listed on my social media at Sports Stories DL. So if you go to at Sports Stories DL, that's funny because that's like Barnaby's calling in the show. I love that guy. All right, so you can call in the show and get a question for either Debbie Skaggs from the Tyler Skaggs Foundation or Gary Lennon, who is representing or analyzing some of Jonas Never's work. Okay, enough of my Quinn Martin references. Let's start the show. I'm a Venice, California-born, Los Angeles-based sports fan, one that has played, coached, announced, and promoted sports my whole life. My love affair with sports started in my own backyard and has led me to this podcast. Thanks to the support of the Amateur Athletic Union in East Bay, I'm excited to bring you Sports Stories with Denny Lennon.
Sports Stories with Denny Lennon aims to bring its subscribers interesting, unique, and uplifting stories. You can find us at sportstoriespodcast.com. We drop audio and video podcasts every Thursday and go live on YouTube Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Many guests have shared their stories with host Denny Lennon, such as Super Bowl and BCS champions Brendan Ion Badejo, Peter Boulware, and Trevor Lawrence, three-time Olympic gold medalist Karch Karai, Kentucky Derby winner Doug O'Neill, NCAA champions Toby Bailey and St. John Smith, Hall of Famers Jimmy Lennon Jr., Rudy Tomjanovich, world champions Boom Boom Mancini and Tim Leary, AAU Sullivan Award winners Catherine Plummer, Sabrina Ionescu, and Spencer Lee, not to mention the head honcho, AAU President Dr. Roger Gowdy. We've also had best-selling authors Wesley King and Wayne Coffey, and our sports stories favorite, Norm Bass, the first African-American to play two professional sports post-World War II. Become a friend of the show on Patreon, and you can help keep the dream alive. Go to patreon.com/Denny Lennon or go to our website to see all of our social media links. If you have an interesting, unique, or uplifting story to tell, contact us on sportsstoriespodcast.com.
Coming to you live from Los Angeles. We're in the shadow of LAX. It's the top-rated video podcast in the Centinela Adobe Corridor. It's where we share a wall with the Korean United Methodist, and you can see St. Jerome Church from our back porch. We're in the 7428 studio where Jimbo and Marley run the show, and Buck kicks back until he's got to kick it out. It's SSDL5with on YouTube. Hey, welcome in. Look, we got a different look, right? Got a different look going. Yeah, you heard that right. The top-rated video podcast in the Centinela Adobe Corridor. We're just doing what we do. We're doing what we do. Hey, is my family here? I hope so. We got to need some support. How about my St. Mark and my St. Bernard people, my VBC and my AAU people? Let's all come together, people. All right, always we go with our top 5 states outside of California supporting the show. Okay. First is Canada. I've been working with my staff on what is and what's not a state. And Edmond, Oklahoma is where my brother is a instructor of art. So they may have mixed up Edmond and Edmonton. Okay, replacement is North Carolina. There it is. North Carolina's in there. Missouri's coming in strong. Oregon, Oklahoma, that makes sense. And always top supporting state right outside of California's Ohio. It's Ohio once again. Hey, if you notice something's missing, that's Casablanca. That's because Carlos and Steve Stone Cold Austin are some kind of big bro friends, and they're taking over the restaurant, and apparently they can't give our guests drink and food according to standards. And so Casablanca is just going to sit this one out. Carlos, good guy. Not mad at him. But hey, cheers, everybody. Okay. Happy hour. Cheers. Christine is shooting the behind the scenes for Patreon. Marley is at the controls producing the show. Chris Allport is on audio. You heard me right. We have a fearsome foursome going strong for this because we got a big show. But before we get to our big show with Debbie Skaggs and Gary Lennon, let's see what we did this week. I know we did some stuff. Been posting a lot. Recap this week. All right. On Tuesday, we always post from Jonas Never's work. And this week, we were at the St. Mark depiction right there. It's real close to Venice Beach, right near the Venice sign. And so we broke it down, told a little story about both St. Mark, Mark the Evangelist, and how Jonas put that together, try to provide a little historical and social context. All right. Good. I was wearing my Ram shirt. Sick. Hey, on Wednesday, we dug deep into the vault and we told about an 8-9 minute story with Big Game Jake Downey there about a really cool clinic that was run by ex-pro football players for the Barrow, Alaska high school team. It was a fun story. That's Wayne Boley. Look at that guy. Handsome. All right. So Wayno came in for an interview in early March and we're replaying it without all the introductions. So it's straight away 120 minutes. We call it Wayno Uninterrupted, as if I could interrupt Wayne. Hey, this is dope. Denny on podcast episodes. I was just on that one. You could look us up. And we did a little bit where I was getting interviewed from where I'm sitting right now on a podcast based in Atlanta. And I dropped some knowledge. Okay. Now we're at the happy hour show and we know what's going on here. Okay. Did we cover everything? That was good, man. We're slick. We're moving right along. Okay. Let's go into Twitter. Hey, Twitter is it's a social media platform that a lot of people use, but not enough are following me. And I'm really putting in a good effort. So look, hopefully you guys can come on and follow me on Twitter. That's it right there at Sports Stories. Why? Well, let's start with this. It was a tribute paid to the great Gale Sayers. There he is, number 40. He died earlier this week. And Gale Sayers was a all-pro member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. That's James Caan, and that's Billy D. Williams in probably one of the great sports movies of all time, Brian's Song. And where they were allowed to use NFL footage before the NFL became the no fun league and wouldn't give out their footage anymore. And so there's some really cool old footage there. I put it all on my Twitter account. Watch Gale Sayers right here, weaving break direction on my Los Angeles Rams. No, like he might not have been the fastest, but nobody changed directions like this guy. Kudos. Billy Lennon, my cousin, made that note on Facebook. Look at him. Gale Sayers. And who among you watched this movie and didn't cry? I did. I was 7 years old. First time I ever cried at a movie. And I wasn't sure if that was okay. Right. But this thing right here, look at Gale Sayers says, go ahead, Marley, play the audio.
Okay, I'll play the audio.
I love Brian Piccolo. And I'd like all of you to love him too. And tonight, hit your knees. Please ask God to love him.
Right. That music, wonderful. It tugged at the heartstrings. That's Billy D. Williams playing Gale Sayers. But I think they really did a great job of showing the humanity of Gale Sayers. He and Brian Piccolo were probably the first interracial rooming group, because the Chicago Bears at that time wanted to room together people from the same position, irrespective of race. And so they broke that ground and they formed this unbelievable friendship. Brian Piccolo eventually diagnosed with cancer, and Gale Sayers was there all along for him. So I thought they did a great job in that movie. Look it up. I saw it on Prime Video recently. Don't tell them or whoever produced the film that I filmed my TV so that you could enjoy on Sports Stories DL Twitter account. What else am I doing on Twitter? Let's see. What's next, Mar? I know I got something else going. Oh, there is Karch Karai and St. John Smith. And between these two, what we're trying to do is find out who's the true king of the beach. What? Well, we're going to take 7. Well, it depends. It's a best out of 7. And so we're going to play this out. We played it out with different disciplines, acting, sponsor, and the like, their college team, their high school team. This week, we've been asking who had the better partner, Kent Steffies that teamed with Karch Karai or Randy Stoklos that teamed with St. John Smith. You can vote. You just got to find it. Click in the thread. You can vote there at Sports Stories DL. Oh, really? I don't want to go on your Twitter account, Denny. You know, it's just not that big a deal. Well, how about winning a national title for North Carolina and multiple championships for the Lakers? Yeah, you know I'm talking about James Worthy. He liked my post. Did you see the previous post? Did you see there, James Worthy, also known as Big Game James? Did you see my previous post? I was in front of a mural over at the coffee company. See, there I am. And I talked about how those four guys in that shot combined for like 65 points and 23 rebounds and 7 assists. Hilarious. Threw myself in with my Lakers. And James liked it. Follow me on Twitter. You'll enjoy. I hope. Do my best. Working. I like this angle. You see the, wait, right there. See the logo? Jerry West. You see that other photo back there? My brother did that when he was 15, that rendering. Okay, let's keep moving.
How about backgammon?
Oh, yeah, backgammon. Yes, we've been getting bombarded because we've really played up the backgammon angle for a while. But look, here's the thing. If you've been watching the NBA playoffs, you'll notice that Mick Ultra is strong with the NBA and advertising, right? So they're also coming on board with the NBA, the National Backgammon Alliance. I'm just going with that name. And so Ultra wants to see how this plays out, when the NBA is going to start, so they know what kind of support they're going to give to the real NBA. That would be the National Backgammon Alliance. So everybody just hold on. It's coming. It's sanctioned by the AAU. We have a point system. East Bay is coming on. So is Coos Tees. We'll be there. That's Johnny Mohawk in the corner. He's running our point system. Okay. Good reminder, Marley. Whew, we've been doing a lot. We've actually been trying,
Yes.
Failing to prepare is preparing to fail. All right. I think it's time to bring on our first guest.
Should we show the foundation video first?
Yeah. So let's show our foundation first. I want to tell you a little bit about our first guest. Her name's Debbie Skaggs, mother. She's accomplished in her own right. She played at Cal State Northridge, catcher, softball, throwing people out at 2 and 3. But her son, Tyler Skaggs, was a professional baseball player for both the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Los Angeles Angels. He tragically died at the just shy of 28 years old. She and her and Tyler's ex-wife or widow rather set up a foundation in his name to support kids in their endeavors. Let's look at their video.
Let's do it. Maybe. Can you see my screen?
I can see it.
It's important to me to share with you who Tyler was as a human being and what we're doing to carry his incredible legacy that he left behind forward.
His legacy is just about the type of person that he was, how caring and loving, his kindness to others. He was a great baseball player, but he was a greater person and man.
I've received so many messages from friends and fans just about what Tyler meant to them and how he impacted their lives. And Tyler always did things because he wanted to and not because he had to. The last game that he pitched the night before he passed away, he left this young boy tickets to his game. The kid told him that he wanted to be a professional baseball player one day. And Tyler said, I'm no different than you. If you work hard and you believe in yourself, and you can be whatever you want to be. It just brought the kid to tears. And his mom said that Tyler's words touched him so much, and that meant a lot to him.
We started the foundation because growing up, he was involved in a lot of sports and athletic teams. Besides having lifelong friends, he also developed great relationships with his mentors and coaches. He had such an amazing experience. We wanted other kids to have that experience of being involved in athletics.
He always talked about the importance of confidence, teamwork, leadership. So we want to support athletic programs and other initiatives that will help these kids learn valuable skills that they can carry with them through life.
You see that at Santa Monica High School. That's where Tyler played. He's a multi-sport athlete, Ocean League MVP in baseball. He brought it, and his mom, who's our guest, longtime softball coach there, including racking up a CIF championship with the Vikings from Santa Monica High School. Let's bring her on, Debbie Skaggs. Hi, Debbie.
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for having me on, Kenny. I appreciate it.
Of course, welcome to the show. Happy hour.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers to you. Cheers to you.
An invisible drink right now, just like an invisible hug.
I don't blame you. I screw up the whole episode. Hey, I wanted to first recognize you as a CIF champion coach. And I know you put in your years at Santa Monica High School in charge of that softball program. So you have some, boots on the ground knowledge about what it means to be on an athletic team and what it means to lead young people through athletics.
Yeah, actually, Denny, we won 2 CIF championships. Yeah.
Okay.
If I didn't say that and any of my girls watch this, they're going to be, wait a second, Skaggs,
Fair
you
enough.
didn't acknowledge us. So we had 2 years of CIF championships. So it's all good.
Tell me a little bit about being a coach and helping move young people through their lives through athletics.
Oh man, it's, what we do on the field is super important, but what we do to teach these kids to navigate life is even more important than doubles, singles, home runs, RBIs. I still have amazing relationships with all of my players. It's so much fun to get together with them. We're supposed to have some type of reunion for our 2010 CIF championship, but unfortunately with the COVID, we weren't able to have that. So, but we'll do something, when all of this clears up, because my girls constantly text me and calling me and see how I'm doing and stuff. So it's really nice to have the support of the girls. It means a lot.
And as a longtime educator, you know just how important it is for young people to be involved in something. And it doesn't always have to be athletics. It can be the band, it could be the arts, it could be a lot of things. But being involved and being responsible to and part of a group is an important part of growing up.
Oh, yes, it is. I'm currently teaching. We're doing distance learning, and it's hard to connect with those kids online. But I'm always asking the kids. I tell the kids, "Hey, reach out to me, email me. I'll try to make some connections for you to try to connect with somebody at school, especially because I have freshman kids, so they're so nervous about trying to navigate, especially with what's going on right now. So I'm trying to help them out as much as I can."
Before we get talk a little bit about the foundation, how about, I didn't do my research properly on how many championships you won, but you did play at Cal State Northridge as an athlete. Is that right? What was your high school? And tell me about some of your mentors, some of the people that helped you, get to the next level.
Wow. I went to Taft High School. I was a graduate in 1980. I'm aging myself right now. So, I think athletics for women was a lot different in the 80s than it is right now. So, it was really kind of male dominant. We didn't really have too many female coaches at the time. So it's nice to be able to be a role model for young girls who are growing up and trying to navigate this world of athletics. So that's important. So when you talk about a mentor in high school, it was a whole different time period at the time.
Yeah. Did you throw anybody out on the basis?
Oh, sure. Actually, who was on my 1980 team was Sheila Cornell. She was at UCLA, and she also was on the U.S. Olympic team. So. Oh,
nice. Okay.
Yeah, so she's a beast. She was first baseman, so she was awesome.
Yeah, I'll bet. Well, I love, obviously it's a difficult situation you dealt with, but you put positive back out into the world with the Tyler Skaggs Foundation. Can you tell us a little bit about, how that works and how that works kind of like also in his spirit? Because I was really moved by your foundational movie, but I know that you're there watching this happen.
Yeah, I mean, through the foundation, we always wanted to honor how Tyler lived, because Tyler loved playing baseball and he was a great player, but long term, he's always going to be remembered as just an unselfish person, always giving of himself. It's nice when we went to the stadium after Ty passed. We had so many people who came up to us, who reached out to us, who messaged us on social media to let us know that what an impact Tyler was to them, and just how he constantly reached out. He was such a humble young man that he never acted like he was a big leaguer. If you saw him, he was just a really down-to-earth kid who would approach it. He was very approachable by anybody. So I love that quality about him.
What are some of the foundation? What has it allowed you? What are some of the programs that you've been allowed to support young people playing athletics?
Well, we refurbished the batting cages at North Venice. Tyler loved North Venice. That was where he played his youth baseball. So luckily I was able to partner with Tyrone Powell that we were able to do something special. So now there's a sign up on the batting cages that say the Tyler Skaggs cages. So that's pretty cool. We also this summer we organized 3 grab and go lunches for kids in the Santa Monica Malibu Unified School District who relied on school lunches at their local elementary, middle school, high school. So we were able to give out, each week we gave out about 300 lunches. So it was nice. We partnered with Chick-fil-A and Subway. So that was awesome to be able to connect with those kids. And then we also sponsored 2 student athletes at St. Monica's, where we are, Tyler and I, we attended, that's our parish, so we attended church, in the off season. Well, for Tyler in the off season, it was difficult during the season, but we were able to connect with Monsignor Torgensen and be able to reach out and do something for 2 kids that wanted to take the Africa trip to help the community out there. So that was actually really, really cool. And then we're organizing our first toy drive. So we're just putting out letters out to the community and out to different types of businesses that would like to partner with us. We're going to work with the Santa Monica UCLA pediatric unit in Santa Monica. And we're going to do a couple things besides toys. We're actually trying to do something a little bit different. We're going to try to purchase virtual goggles that we're going to, that kids are going to be able to use when they're going through going through chemotherapy or they're going through a painful procedure that they need a good distraction, because sometimes toys are not a great distraction, but for the fact that they could be actually, using the goggles to get distracted instead of feeling the pain. So we're working with people at UCLA. So hopefully we're going to be able to purchase the needed goggles that they would need, because we're also going to need to have somebody teach the kids how to use them too. So besides buying the goggles, we need to pay for a position for somebody to help the kids get set up. So that's our goal.
Yeah, that's great. And, I know my sister, she runs a foundation called My Stuffed Bags, and they reach out to children that are in crisis situations. I just know that, she always mentions during these economic downturns, it's a really tough time, and it's important that people remember that you're still there, that there's still, an issue that needs to be addressed and supported. And so hopefully you're getting that support during this time.
Yeah, we're doing a pretty good job. Really fortunate that we got a good kickstart at the beginning. Through Major League Baseball Players Association and the Angels and the Dodgers, we were able to be able to start the foundation with a pretty good sum of money. So that was a positive thing. And then the fact that Tyler had so many great friends within the league. We've been able to, Jack Flaherty's been amazing, Patrick Corbin, Andrew Heaney, Max Fried, Lucas Giolito, all those guys. The Heidemann brothers have also been so amazing. They were actually instrumental in getting that mural up for Tyler near the high school. So, and Jonas is, man, he's unbelievable. He is so awesome and amazing. He's the most amazing artist I've ever seen. He's awesome. And the fact that he went to Samo, him and Tyler had the same jersey number at Samo. Wow. So there's just so many coincidences there. And he's just a really, really amazing guy. He's just absolutely amazing. That mural is, and I pass by that mural all the time. When I was in school, I would walk down to Starbucks. And so I constantly would go by and see Tyler there. So it's amazing. It really is.
I feel, shameless that I have myself pictured in right there. It's like, yeah, do you see me there too? No, and so for those that don't know, it's right across from Santa Monica High School. The reason I do that is because each Tuesday we post something about one of Jonas's murals, and we just try to kind of talk about what its historical, social contexts are. And he's just fascinating. Yeah. And to see him work on the last couple murals, he works at such an accelerated rate. Yet it's brilliant by the time it's finished. And that's kind of what the premise of my brother coming on tonight, who's an accomplished artist himself, is I want him to break down a lot of, what Jonas has done, because I don't think everybody recognizes how not only prolific he is, but how much he does. Like, he's constantly putting up a new mural somewhere, and they touch people's lives.
Yeah, there's one actually coming up down the street from our house, and my husband actually was he was taking the dog for a walk, and he called me and he's like, I think Jonas is doing another mural. It's on Washington, and it had like Alex Rodriguez, and I just briefly went by it, but I mean, he is so talented. He is extremely talented. He's awesome. I love him. He's a great guy.
And I love that mural is so, I'm sure it's so personal to you, but it really connects with people, because it's, it's right across the street from the school he went to, done by a guy that went to the same school. And I just love that he's just tossing the ball up and smiling. I think it's a beautiful tribute to him. And also that 45 is so recognizable, especially on the backside of everything, how everybody dove in, and 45. So obviously your son made an unbelievable impression upon people that has brought out all of this support.
Yeah, I'm lucky, because he was just an amazing kid. He was just so loving and kind and gentle, and yet he was very competitive, and he worked his tail off.
I'm sure. When your parents are coach, you tend to you get a little bit of head start, but you also witness, when you grow up, you witness the work and what it is to do the work. Because you watch a coach work a team, and so you kind of see, and it's just modeled for you. And I think that's really important when you're a young athlete growing up.
Oh, I agree. And Tyler had a lot of connections with the girls on my team, all my teams, because he literally would come to practice. Like, someone would drop him off at Samo after school, and he'd be running around in the outfield, messing around with the girls. So it was just, he grew up around it. So it was fun.
That is fun. So we've had your the foundation website on the screen. Is there anything else that we've missed talking about the foundation or how to support?
No, I mean, you can go onto the website, and you can buy a sweatshirt or t-shirt or hat, and the proceeds go to the foundation. You can also fill out an application if you want to try to petition for something that you're doing for some type of athletic organization. The application's online, and you can also make a donation there.
Okay, that's perfect. And I was going to let everybody know, if you're having any, trouble like viewing, you can always click on our featured video, and then I'll take you straight to what we've shown. And there'll also be the website that can direct people towards that. Yep. Good. Debbie, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
All right. That's the best. I'm really glad. And it's beautiful what you're doing. Let's keep pushing forward and helping young people.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Debbie. Yeah, I wasn't throwing off somebody who's running a foundation outside of my sister, because I did that. But that's my sister, right? But if you're running a foundation, that's not cool. Easy, people. Everybody comes on the show wants to see me throw people off. No. All right. I would want to throw off my brother, but he's going to be the last guest on, so that's not going to be easy, because he's going to know it's coming, because he watches. All right. Look, again, Tyler Skaggs Foundation. What a great, it's helping these young people. It's giving them, an opportunity to stay involved in sports, and we all got to dive in and help these foundations. And so that's why we try to put the light on them as much as we can on this show. Okay. You heard her talk about Jonas Never. I didn't even have to prompt it. Jonas Never is a prolific artist that has done so much work across Los Angeles. He's starting to get contracted to go outside of Los Angeles to do big time mural projects. And so as we began every Tuesday to cover Jonas's works, the idea came, I would really like to break this down, because I talked to my brother about it. And my brother, who is an artist in Edmond, Oklahoma, obviously grew up out this way, but is a teacher and an artist out that way. And I had some good conversations, and I said, I bet our people would like to hear this. So we're going to bring on Gary Lennon. But first, I think we got a little bit of a view of his work, don't we, Marley? Yeah. When I was a kid, because my brother is a whole lot older than me, like a lot older than I am. He's way up the line, but I so looked up to my brother Gary because he was my first entry into the arts. I couldn't believe how he could sketch. What you see right over my shoulder right there, that's a sketch from when he was like 15 years old. And it just imprinted something in my mind about how important it was to explore and be appreciative of the arts. And so as he grew and started to do these bigger works, my appreciation for the arts grew, and it allowed and it opened a part of my mind to how important that is in our culture. So I am proud to bring on my brother, even if I have to go all the way to Oklahoma to do it. That's right. Hi, Gary.
Hi, Denny. How's it going?
Oh, we got to bring his audio up. It's going good. We got you. We hear you. And we're shooting out there to you, and wanted to just let everybody know you're a teacher at the Edmond Fine Arts Institute in Oklahoma. And now Oklahoma is part of the union at this point, right?
Yes, we are. We just joined recently.
Yeah. Okay, good. Just wanted to know. No, I say that because there's 35 years that the school has been there, and you've been a teacher there for a while now. How many years you've been at the Institute?
With the fine arts for 20 years now.
20 years. Okay. And they're a nonprofit that does this great work. And including among, their great work is not only supporting, both younger people and adults, but they give you employment. And that's nice of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Who would do that reasonably? I'm just saying. No, and there's so many facets of the fine arts and what they do. It's a great place to work. Everybody there is just like family, Denny. We've all been together for so long, and it's a wonderful group of people.
Gary, when we were looking at some of the work that we just played, and we have the ability probably to go back and look at it a little bit, but what I don't think a lot of people understand is that they weren't just looking at the sky. You would do those type murals in a development project or something that would allow people to walk into a room and actually think they were looking at the sky. And where did a lot of that training come from, as far as you being able to present something that's so real on a different type of medium?
Yeah, well, a lot of that was with airbrush, and I was working with the airbrush in San Diego for quite a while and doing a lot of murals with that. So it's a lot of trial and error. The most difficult part of that was the bricks, Denny. I mean, there's over 400 bricks there. And so even the grout lines were done by hand. That was a big process. I think I had like 2 weeks to do it in, but I was teaching at Francis Tuttle Technical Institute as well in the evenings. And during the day, I'd be working for a place called Glamour Shots. I was the lead artist, and we did all kinds of things there. So then after that, I'd go and work on murals. And there was a 2-week period that they were closing on this particular home. And so it was like with all that other work, it was like when I was finishing up, I had a deadline, and I think I worked 48 hours straight on the very end of that particular project.
How did you come across? Because obviously it's going to grab some people's attention. They saw the San Diego Padres in there, and how did you come across some of the San Diego Padres and got them a chance to sit down and sketch them, or how did that all come about? Because if I'm not mistaken, that's like that '84 team that went to the World Series.
Oh, absolutely. We were a big Padres fan, and the place we rented was on Louisiana Street in San Diego, in North Park. And in North Park, we were renting the front place, but in the back, there was a home as well. And that was where our landlord lived. And he was a huge Padre fan. And he took me and another guy to spring training camp. And at that time, he was like really in with the Padres, and he had already established a relationship with them that was it was quite a good relationship because we were able to hang with them. We stayed at a motel, same hotel that they stayed at. sit by the pool and just talk about different things. It was an unusual experience, just a wonderful one.
Yeah, I can imagine. And we're looking at some of your other works here as well as we go through this. Your style would like, how did you come across different styles? Like you could do murals, you could do sketches, and you did all these. Is that all just by, you just figured it out, or did you have somebody who kind of pointed you in the right direction, like you do for young people now?
Well, when I was very young, I couldn't just pick this up and figure it out. Okay. In those days, long ago, we had to walk to the library, and I'd check out a book, or I'd sit in the library and I'd read about different artists and try to emulate their types of work. So again, it was all trial and error. But Denny, I remember Glendon Avenue, sitting on a fence, and I was about 11 years old, trying to discover new ways of working. And I remember thinking to myself, gosh, if I ever get good at this, someday I'd love to teach and make it much easier, because my students could learn by my mistakes, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see that. I thought about that in the same way towards athletics and stuff.
Yeah,
and you want to improve on what and how you got there. I remember that you produced a lot of different works. I would imagine a lot of it was like trial and error in order to get to that place. Yeah.
Yes, it was indeed. And boy, did I constantly remind my students that they should just relax and have fun about it, because I've made more mistakes than all of them combined.
Right. Yes. Well, you've got a few years on them too, Gary. But beyond that, there's close to like 5,000 students that like attend various, classes at the Institute, but you also have outreach programs that reach, thousands more.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's kind of funny because all of this connecting, by the way, I did want to say to Debbie, I loved her story. It was a wonderful story. Just a great program. But a lot of the things that we try and do through the fine arts and through Francis Tuttle as well is we try and reach out to the community and include the youth. One of the things that I do is I work for the court system in Edmond, and we have what's called Your Creative Side. When kids are getting the wrong situation, maybe with the wrong friends, wrong time, and they've had trouble and they're into the court system, what we like to do is to provide them with alternative means of doing community service. So we came up with a program that is, like I say, it's called Your Creative Side. And instead of following elephants with a shovel and in a uniform, okay, basically, they send them to my class and they complete a course, and it counts towards their community service. And it's a really good program because a lot of these kids we're turning around in a certain way because it's more of a positive take on something that was a little bit negative. And some I am still lifelong friends with some of these kids.
That's awesome. And I think we all find that sometimes it's those kids, that can be real high achievers are the ones that oftentimes get in trouble because they're looking for the excitement. They're looking to do, the thing that's outside of their reach. And if you can channel them in the right direction, you really, you can hit the mother load there.
Oh, Denny. Yeah. You know that well because you do the same thing. And it's that, communication and connection that it never goes away. It just doesn't go away. You know that they follow you, you follow them. And I've had many of my students over the years that go on to become teachers. And it's really, you hope that you're inspirational in what you do. In the court system as well, a lot of the kids that I get are kids that might be caught for tagging or graffiti. And the judge will see that, oh, you have an interest in art. I've got a program that maybe you'll like. And so what we do or I try and do with them, is to show them that there's airbrush, that there's mural work that they can do, and help to pass that on. And it works out really, really well.
That's now in exchange, has the court system expunged your record? Like, because that would be cool.
Still working on that.
Yes, it's a long, it's going to take a while. It's going to take a while. There's a lot.
Well, but I thought to myself too that, Jonas talks about doing graffiti, and that's how he built to his murals. And so it's kind of a process that you go through to learn how to fine tune your artwork. You know what I mean?
Right.
She's just taking it to another level.
I know it's been said, like, oftentimes graffiti is like the language of the ghetto, or graffiti many times is a language of those that are oppressed, and they don't have another avenue to speak out. And so sometimes that's what it is. And that if it can, be channeled in the right direction, we get work like what you did, in the 80s, and we get work like what Jonas is doing now. And so that's a good, opportunity for us to show some of Jonas's work right now. And then I would love for you to just kind of like technically break it down and let everybody know just what goes in to his work.
Oh yeah. Like I'm going to be, commenting on Never, right? Okay.
Well, you should. You know a little bit more than I do in my stick figures. So let's take a look at this video real quick.
Finds me here beside the ocean, in a room with a view. I put my feet upon the sand, begin again where I began. Yeah, that's just what I will do. Back on 27th Avenue. Unspoken, too many hearts that I have broken, yeah, including my heart too. Oh, holy water, wash me clean of all I've done and all I've seen. I could use a blessing or two. Back on 27th Avenue, where I learned to fly. Back on 27th Avenue.
Guy's unreal. That guy is unreal, Gary. It's really interesting how much work he does. Gary's levels.
You got me?
There we go. Yeah, go ahead. Isn't that unbelievable?
He's unbelievable. He's so quick. Danny, we've had calls in the last week as well where you've called me and said, oh, he started in one. And then you'll send me a picture and you'll go, it's about done. Yeah. How does he do that? I also went and referenced his name, and he's one of the most productive people.
Yes.
People do articles on him because he's so productive and so clean. His work is just phenomenal. I mean, like I say, sometimes I'm thinking about, am I qualified to talk about Jonas Never? He's inspirational to me as well. I mean, he's got to be so inspirational to other artists, but to me as well. He's just taking it to another level.
I constantly break down the inadequacies of professional sport coaches, so you can do this, Gary. Now that said, tell me a little bit about, like, how do you approach that big of a platform? And you said something about you would grid it out, and then you pick your like. How do you know you're going to hit the right colors? How do you know you can get that look in the eye, that glint of whatever? Like, how do you plan to do that?
Well, at that level and the size that he's working on, it is a matter of gridding, because you've got to be really accurate, especially super realism like he does. Okay. You've got to grid it out. And so you're able to kind of reference where the eye goes and the nose goes and everything else. But it's those subtleties that really make the difference, I believe.
Yeah.
Subtleties that you're including, the tip of the nose and putting the highlight there, the depth of some of the shadows on, faces. He's off the charts, Denny. I mean, it's, I got to say this. Originally, right after Kobe's death, we were watching a newsreel and there was his mural. Now, at the time, I didn't even know that you knew of him or knew him. And I had to back up, go rewind back to that particular mural, because I was like, oh, that's outstanding. That's great. And had a look at it and went, that's a great artist. Okay. Yeah. Just knowing the complications and, like you say, some of the color matches that you've got to go through, and the tonal highlights, just everything that he does is just right there. And it's, and it's so clean from back there, but Denny, as well as others that have walked right up to it, it almost makes no sense from a couple feet, does it? You know what I'm saying?
No, it is. It's unreal. Like, okay, like this one is one of the Kobe ones. And I mean, I guess one of the questions I'd have for you, Gary, is how do you would an artist's eye be like a musician's ear? I mean, how do you match perfectly to the color you want, whether it be of a person or their uniform or just any other external item? Like, how do you match that color so perfectly? Do you have to look down a list of, okay, I could buy spray paint 242? Like, how does that work?
Not really. Over the years, you kind of learn the blends. And, when I was teaching my daughter to paint, okay, I taught her how to paint just with primaries alone, like they used to do in, medieval times. Okay. They would paint just with the primaries. But some of the paintings we look at today in Europe, they were done with just primaries. Over the years, you start to learn certain blends and what that color combination is going to be between which colors. So a lot of that, again, boils down to trial and error. How much do you do it? How often do you do it? A lot of my students will have trouble with creating or coming up with a certain color they're looking for. And if they show me the color compared to something else in the room, compared to another painting, if they can show it to me, I can blend it, and they get a little bit upset about it, because I'll pull like 2 or 3 colors, and then I've had it, and they've worked already, half hour to 45 minutes to get that color. Yeah. But it's a lot of trial and error, and after quite a while, it becomes second nature. It does.
Yeah, it's similar when, like, I'm shooting baskets in the backyard, and Marley is out there trying to make a shot from a certain spot, and I walk right out and knock it down, and I tell you, you just got to line your shoulders up. It's not that complicated. But no. Gary, I asked Marley to maybe put up a different picture, and I would love for you to just comment on it, like some of the things we may not see, as just observers of art, but somebody who actually produces it. So, like this one right here. What do we got next, Mar? Yes. Oh, that one right there. So this one, Gary, is called A Touch of Venice, and it's based off A Touch of Evil, the 1958 Orson Welles movie that he filmed in Venice, and he portrayed Venice as like a border town. And so, like, what are some of the things you see here? Obviously, he did this all in black and white, but I love the perspective. What's that railroad idea that's going down the middle there? What do you see here?
Well, Denny, quite honestly, I was looking at Debbie's son, the picture of Debbie's son.
Oh, you're looking at Skaggs.
What, Denny? It's okay.
Well,
I know the picture you're talking about. Okay. Yeah. And I've looked at that quite extensively, and it's just incredible. It's the perspective that you have, and it's the way he uses proportion and perspective in order to get quite an incredible viewpoint. And I even went to some of the other film clips that you included. Okay. And I went to that original movie, and it was really fun to look at that and to make a comparison between what Jonas did. Now, Jonas included a lot of subtle things in there that are modern era, a little bit modern era.
That's right.
And they were done so subtly that it all works into the particular concept that he had. But it gives such an incredible feeling for the era that movie was shot in. That's what I thought was just beautiful. And it reminded me also of the Born and Raised album, you know, and that iconic Venice hanging down there, you know. It's really cool. I've got to see that in person someday. I really got to go and check that out.
Are you seeing the same one I am?
Yeah. And I was curious on that one. I never could find anything that told me how long did he spend on that, because there's a lot involved, especially the perspective. It's just incredible.
Are there now he hides, like you said, he'll hide like Dogtown over here, or he'll hide like a Coca-Cola or a modern store within a older time frame. Are there little tricks you use on your murals that are your signature? Like, do you have any kind of, you know, things like that you hide that usually Gary did that?
Okay, I do somewhat, but usually sometimes I will hide things in the mural and kind of wait to see if somebody catches it, you know, along the way. It may be a face in the clouds. It may be, there was one that I did of, somebody wanted me to do a painting of a unicorn, and they're paying me good money to do quite a big painting. Now, I kind of find it at the time, I kind of found the unicorn idea a little bit hokey. So what I did was put a horse at a pond, okay? And he was kind of dipping his head to get a drink of water. So instead of putting the horn on his head, what I did was I put it in the reflection in the water. So it was a lot more subtle, but the whole idea of the unicorn theme was in there. And so there are a lot of times, yes, I'll hide things and wait to see. And then sometimes people will come up and go, well, what about that little part of a train that was in behind the trees? And you go, I don't know what you're talking about.
That's funny.
You captured their attention and held it. And that's the beauty of that.
I'm going to write myself a note about being subtle. Okay. Good. Note taken down.
The source, okay.
That's not my strong suit. Do we got another Jonas picture that we can show? Let's see. Now this one, Gary, recently look, let's just, hopefully you're seeing Joe Kelly there. And so here's the thing, right? For those that don't know, the Houston Astros are cheaters of the highest nature, and they cheated the Dodgers out of a championship. So when they came to play the Dodgers again this year, as most major league teams wanted to do, was to punish the cheaters. Now, Major League Baseball threw a blankie around them and tried to protect them, but some guys threw at them. And when Joe Kelly threw at them and they complained, he made this pouty face towards them. And it was great. And it really sent a message. And then Jonas memorialized that pouty face on a building not far from Dodger Stadium. It was brilliant. And they did all these pictures where like it was Jonas and Joe Kelly, because Joe Kelly came down to it with his family stuff, but they did that and they mimicked the pouty face and the whole deal.
So great. It's so awesome.
And, I mean, how do you grab that moment? Like he grabbed it from a picture. Yeah.
No, the whole thing about expressions too is a whole nother facet of doing portraiture. Expressionism is one of those things that when it comes time for my students, when they go, I want to learn portraiture now. I've done the landscape thing, done this abstract. I've worked in watercolor. I want to learn about expression. I have one book that is just incredible on expressions. And so you have to go in and explore and study the way the eyes look when it comes to happiness or sadness. And the same thing with the nose, the mouth, whatever it is in a face, just the turn of the head as well, questioning. It's a wonderful book that I worked from when I started portraiture myself. And that particular book is amazing book. I keep a copy of it here, and I keep a copy of it at school, so I can always drag that up as reference. That takes a long time to learn, and Jonas definitely has that. I don't know where his skills all came from, but it's an honor to be able to comment, just to be able to comment on his work.
Yeah, he and what's really fascinating too about him is, because now that I have a relationship with him, I'll walk up to while he's working, and he'll be doing these things that are more or less permanent, and he's able to go, "Hey, Denny, what's up?" and he'll talk while he's doing it. I'm like, just pay attention. The guy, right? He's so good at that. But and so many people come up to him now because he's known on the streets, and so they come up to him, and it's really fascinating. I don't know if you caught Wednesday's show, but we showed how on that wall that Debbie was talking about, that's on Washington and Inglewood in Culver City. He's got Mario Lopez up there because it's part of his fan heritage, and we more or less resurrected Mario's career by bringing him up when we were on location in Chula Vista. And the next thing you know, our friend Jonas puts him up on the wall, and Mario's social profile has gone through the roof. So there it is. And that's A-Rod. There's another picture with us, but we do what we can.
You're doing a lot. Okay.
Gary, and by the way, sorry to segue, but we broke the Pac-12 story about them coming back to football right here on this show on November 16. They announced it yesterday, and Dan Patrick tries to take it on his show. Not happy about that. I got to talk to DP. All right, Gary, when did you get started, and what was your initial, what do you remember what it was that you either saw or somebody you saw and you were like, I want to copy that, or that seems like a thing to do, because I never remember you that you weren't creating art.
Now I'm going to do this. Okay. I'm ready to answer that, Denny. Now, it was like, I remember when you started sports. Okay. Yeah. We all looked at you really in awe at the particular time when so young, you started sports, and you were so good. I don't know if you remember the monster bat that you used to have in the wiffle ball. Okay. And just at such a young age, how you could swing and hit and how you could shoot hoops. I got to say that for me, it was, generally speaking, Tommy Lennon was one of the people that kind of inspired me. Okay. And Aunt Peg as well. Okay. I had started artwork, but not at that caliber, of course. And so I would try and emulate their work as well. So, that particular age, then I started looking at a lot of different artists. National Geographics were great. You remember our World Book encyclopedias? Yeah. There's.
I dove into those. I couldn't find as much sports as I wanted.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I always look for that. It's important, that my friend Ray Castro heard how good I was in sports, and how by inference, you were saying that he wasn't that good. So that's important. The second thing
he is the world's most interesting man. So come on.
He is very interesting. I just always have to take a shot at the box cobbler. And then the other thing is, Gary, you've achieved a lot, but I don't think you've ever done anything as significant as our mom's drawing of Dopey, of the right.
Wasn't that great? I mean, the Dopey and the lady's profile, huh?
And the lady's profile. Those are her go-tos.
Every phone call. That's what she'd be doing. And this hat right here, okay? This hat was given to me by Mom. We were at Del Mar Fairgrounds, okay? And I'm wearing this in honor of her, and we're all going to be remembering her tomorrow again.
Yes, we are. Matter of fact, I have my daughter prepare something for a little bit later. So, I put the next level of artist who I always looked at my daughter and I said, "You're lucky. You got some of what Gary's got, because you got that artistic eye." And so I asked her to put a few photos together. We'll do that towards the end, which I don't know if it's cool to then play box cobbler right on the backside of that, if that's disrespectful, but I think Mom would also get a kick out of it. So we'll be good.
Absolutely. She would. Absolutely.
She would go, "Oh, of course, let Ray, my other son." Yeah. Hey, Gary, did you have the photo when she's younger. So I think well, here's what we found.
Yeah.
Right. We dug into this because Gary, it's over my shoulder. People saw it probably earlier. And it's this particular guy, which I think was some kind of photo from Canada of a Native American that was living there, that was smoking some kind of pipe. And that this one promotional group called the Dog, what was it? There's something family dog. They used it, to push there. And so like and what's so cool on that photo there is you can see the Avalon Ballroom was where they promoted a lot of shows. And so I know like the Avalon Ballroom was so significant in a lot of the aunts and uncles' lives. And of course, those of us that would go over to Catalina Island and Avalon. But I know you also were inspired by the music you saw growing up, and that you talked your way into a job at the Santa Monica Civic Center and saw some unbelievable groups. And it was probably around that time that you, in effect, copied that kind of like as a
yes. Okay. I was emulating another artist, Denny.
Yeah.
And so at the time, there was a poster, and also I think they used one of the posters in that. I went to Newport Pop Festival and got to see Hendrix there. And so it was very inspirational, and that's where it came from.
And Marley, if you put me in a one shot real quick, everybody can see over this shoulder. Yep. See, that's where, and that's the one I remember growing up, and it was fun, Gary, because as we went from one place to another, I unpacked a crate, and it was all rolled up and crackled and everything.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh, wait, this is that. And so it's got duct tape and staples on it, but I resurrected the best I could. But it reminds me of that time where I first got turned on to art. And I always thought that thing was so cool.
Oh, great. Yeah, I'm glad you had it. I wonder who stole it,
Yeah. I've been shopping on eBay so far. $3.89 is what's it going for. I'm gonna hold out for $5. Yeah. An original GTL. But you know what, Gary, I don't know how young you were, but it has your G and then the T and the L on it, which would tell me you already had.
I think that was probably when I was about 15. Yeah. Wow. I didn't realize that.
So you already had some self-awareness of putting your initials on something, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, I didn't realize it was that long ago, but I remember thinking once you establish that logo, so to speak, you got to stick with it.
Yeah.
And many times I wanted to change it, but then it wouldn't be recognizable.
That's your signature. That's your signature. Gary, I won't even swipe you.
Okay.
I wanted to. I wanted to. And hopefully none of my other brothers and sisters are watching so that they, I was going to. Okay. That is wrong. I had one more line before I was actually going to swipe, but that's not right. It's not. God. I'm ashamed. Mom would not. Okay. My mom taught me so many lessons. It would be her 96th birthday tomorrow. And so I know I'm number 7 in my family. I know all 7 of us, plus all our extended cousins, let alone her grandchildren, great-grandchildren. We'll all be thinking about her tomorrow. I mentioned that I learned so many lessons from her, but so much of what we learned was, doing the next thing and being tough and being able to get the next thing done and always doing it with kindness involved. And that's what she always was. She was always kind to people, looked for the best in people, and always it welcomed everybody in and around her. And we try to do the same. I know we all do. And I know we're all thinking about her tomorrow. When she died, all of the family was around her, including many of her grandchildren and even some of her great-grandchildren. And that was a terrific way for her to take a final bow. And so I will, like I always do on her birthday, head to the ocean and swim. And I think about Mom. And I know everybody else will be doing the same tomorrow. So as I said, a little bit shaky that Box Cobbler and his shenanigans are going to follow this video montage of my mom. But then again, it's perfect because she loved her some Ray, and Ray represents that kind of person that she would pull into the fold and welcome like a child of her own. Now, that said, I like that I called Ray a child right there, by the way. And now that said, we'll do this montage. My daughter, Sienna, who has followed in the great tradition of many Lennons that have that artistic eye and have that artistic gene, put this together. I haven't even seen it myself. So we'll play this box cobbler, and then Buck will kick it out because I learned from my mom how to pick up the dog do. Okay.
Did you want to say something?
Good.
Can you hear anything?
Music.
Is there volume on it?
I don't know.
There's no volume on it. She probably just did a slideshow. No, actually.
Yeah. Besides,
Bananas. Roar! When I watch Sports Stories with Denny Lennon. Arr! Every Thursday. My master tells me to shut up. I just go roof, 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 roof.
Thanks for watching and listening. Sports Stories with Denny Lennon is produced by me, Marley Rice, and Christine Jinbo, and edited by bad boy Bobby McCall. Original music courtesy of Lennon Music Production, and original images courtesy of Sienna Lennon Photography. A big thank you to all of our contributors of the show. Sports Stories with Denny Lennon is a production of Sports Stories Inc. and available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, or wherever you watch and listen. Make sure you press that subscribe button, give us a review, leave a comment. It will really help us grow the show. And you know what else will help us grow the show? Head on over to patreon.com/Denny Lennon to get some never-before-seen videos, pictures, interviews, and so much more. We are all over social media and constantly sending out clips on Facebook, conducting fun polls on Twitter, going live on Instagram, and more. To find all of our social media links, head on over to sportsstoriespodcast.com. SSDL proudly supports the My Stuff Bags Foundation and the Heroes Movement. Links to how you can support and help these foundations can be found on our website. We also want to give a big thank you to all of our partners of the show. So, as Coach Lennon would say, any questions, comments, or concerns, you can email me, Marley, at info@sportsstoriespodcast.com. We want to thank all of our followers and listeners, and we will see you next time.
Check it out, bud.